Hi. So I'm back again. Sorry for kind of the inconsistent schedule. For those of you that don't know, last week I was a little under the weather. Everything's fine. Now I'm getting better. So I'm back with another devotional. And we're getting back into Proverbs. Like I said, I'm sorry about the inconsistent schedule. I'm going to be trying to get back on that every week basis. So we're just still in Proverbs chapter 1. If you don't remember last time, we went over the first few verses. If you haven't seen that video, feel free to go back in the video history, and watch that. And then we're going to start in verse 8 of chapter 1, talking about the enticement of sinners. And so Solomon is continuing with wisdom, the beginning of knowledge, kind of that whole line of information and theme. And so this particular passage is actually kind of two parts. So there's this part right here, the enticement of sinners, and then there's the part that we're going to look at hopefully next week, which is the call of wisdom. And so it's the contrast of two very different ideals, sin and wisdom, which can also be synonymous with good. And both of them appear to be calling towards us. There's kind of this pull on our hearts, is what it's implied here. And I think that we can all relate to that a lot of times we feel pulled to do what's wrong or what's right, depending on the situation, or maybe both. And we have to make that decision. So first, in what we're going to look at today, these few verses, Solomon's going to talk about here's what it looks like when sin is pulling you towards it, and what will happen if you follow that call. So it's a warning. And so Solomon, he writes, "Hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake not your mother's teaching, for they are a graceful garland for your head, and penance for your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, 'Come with us, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without reason. Like Sheol, let us swallow them alive. And whole, like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all precious goods, we shall fill our houses with plunder, and throw in your lot among us, and we will all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Hold back your foot from their paths, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. For in vain is a net spread in the sight of any bird, but these men lie in wait for their own blood. They set an ambush for their own lives. Such are the ways of everyone who is greedy for unjust gain. It takes away the life of its possessors." And so we see a little short narrative where sinners come and they say, "Come with us. Let's go set this trap. Let's go execute this plan. And we're gonna hurt people. We're gonna steal from them. We're gonna do everything that's wrong. But man, we're just gonna be so rich. We're gonna be overflowing with money." And Solomon writes, that may be very attractive. It may be very attractive to have so much money, or to maybe get revenge on somebody, or to just get whatever it is that you're wanting. If you guys remember, back in June, the first time that we met after the pandemic started, or after quarantine started, I should say. Pandemic started long before that. But after quarantine started, first time we met, I talked about, man, what would you do to get what you want? And that's really what's going on here. Solomon's saying sinners, they're willing to do anything. They're trying to get what they want, and they are willing to cross boundaries that normally wouldn't be crossed. Normally people don't cross unless they're actively trying to get something that doesn't belong to them. And so in this example that's presented, it's getting money. It's just shedding blood, causing violence for the sake of it, even though these people are innocent, just for the thrill of it all. And he says they're spreading their net, and they think that they're about to catch this bird. They think they're about to get what they want, but really they're setting a trap for themselves, because even though they think that what they're doing now is going to bring them pleasure, and they might get a lot of pleasure from it. They might end up being very happy. But what's really happening is, they're doing these things, they're doing these wrong things, they're sinning, and they're setting a trap for themselves. Whether that means they're eventually going to be caught by the law, or whether that means, they're going to reach the end of their life, and they're going to have lived a life of pleasure and happiness, but it's full of sin. And then they'll stand before God, and they will have to face retribution for everything that they did. Because what has been happening is they have been greedy for unjust gain, and that is going to take away their own life. So Solomon, he paints out this picture. He goes, you may get rich off of this. You may get thrills from it, but at the end of the day, you're really only shedding your own blood. And he says, stay away from it, my child. Stay away from this life of sin. And as we're going to look at next week, heed the call of wisdom. Go in peace.